So welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for Top Gun Sales Boot Camp Training. We learned last one that this isn't just about sales. It's about life. Like this is about life.
I
And
wonder,
so
is there like a percent out there of how much of life is sales?
we'll see. This is what I thought of. I hated salespeople when I was, so I'd have been 22 years old. Last thing I wanted to do, like I had six job offers coming out of college, and the last thing I wanted to do was sales because I didn't don't like salespeople, and I wouldn't be good at. I know, like all of you are better at sales than me. I just this is not, this is what makes me so good at training salespeople because I just sucked at it, and I don't like it. Like yesterday, like like Becky and Nora with Lisa yesterday.
Yeah.
You guys know how, do you guys know how we could have got that? Nora, it's interesting. Richard, we have this 30-minute strategy session with Richard, and I mean, it was unbelievable. Like we go through the whole thing, ask him if he has any questions. Nope, you good? Nope, I'm good. Okay. And right before I'm ready to leave, I'm saying, hey, Nora, um, do you have any questions, any thoughts? And she says, Mark, do you think that Richard should have would benefit from a business x-ray? Like, I don't even ask for the sale. All she does is say, do you think he'd benefit? Boom. Yes, he wants the business. I'd have just walked off, just left without asking. That's not a very good sale. Or is he genius? Is Mark genius? Anyways, Lisa, do you guys know how we could have closed that sale then?
Not sure.
Nora's thinking, I don't know if I
Not
want.
sure that I wanted to.
That's what I'm saying. But if you did want to close that sale, do you know how you would have?
No.
Becky?
Been nicer.
Who you would have been nicer? Me, I would
You
have. No, Becky, you don't understand women. Careful.
evidently not.
Easy, Mark. Easy.
hmm
Easy, Mark. Like easy. Tread carefully here. Um, no, she goes ahead. She tests out Nora's, she's a little harsher on people than I am. Like I think she tests out as a 1, 3 on coachability. Nora's like, no, she's a 1. And Nora's probably right. I was just too generous because she's a woman. So she tests out. Then it's like, well, what would you do if somebody says, if somebody says these things? She says, well, they would be wrong, and for sure I wouldn't coach them. For sure I wouldn't hire them as a coach. What do? I tell her that she's a 1 to a 3. Like, but if you ladies wanted to, I mean, you should. If you wanted to close that sale, you just text me and say, Mark, there is no way you're going to be able to close this sale.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard somebody say that they don't want you to do the review. That was weird.
What do you mean?
Well, you like gave her the option of having you do the review if she did it, or having somebody else. She's like, yeah, I'll take somebody else.
Right, right. But this is how it's going now. Like Nora goes ahead and gets somebody yesterday, some dude yesterday, and he's like, what? Tell that story, Nora. That's so cool.
What, the Ken guy?
I don't know what his name was.
Which part of it?
Well, when you go ahead and say, "Hey, call him
Oh,
up on behalf of me" or something.
yeah, I called him and because he's a LinkedIn guy, and so called him and said, "Hey, I'm just calling on behalf of Mark. I know you guys have been talking on LinkedIn, and I had a couple questions for you if you have time. And he goes into saying how terrible Mark is, that he doesn't have time to talk to his own people, and he's sending me to talk to them, but it's okay because he can hear my smile through the phone, and so I can ask him any question I want. I'm like, okay.
Nice. That's awesome.
And then at the end, he's talking about Mark again, how terrible he is, that he doesn't have the time to pick up the phone and talk to people.
No, like the fact that he saw your smile is pretty cool too.
Do you know why that is, Luke? Do you know where
Mm,
Nora learned that from, Luke?
no.
She listened to my mom and my wife and my daughter. And she listened to my mom, wife, and daughter, and that podcast that she had with the 3 generations of Boersma women. And she listened to that podcast, and that's what my mom says. My mom says you need to go ahead and have them feel your smile through the phone. Now, am I saying that Nora didn't know how to do that before? I'm not saying that at all. Like, she knew how to do that. She has this natural gift of doing it, but it didn't hurt to go ahead and have her listen to that podcast and go, huh? Like my mom, when she was making calls, she hated making calls, just hated it. But it was part of the ministry and the church and stuff, helping churches and rescue churches and starting churches. And every time she'd have a calling ministry, some business guy would get on the phone and say, Mrs. Boersma, you are amazing. I want to hire you. Every single time. Every single time.
That's funny because that guy also said that, like, before, because he said he just got saved like last year. And so he said before then, he wouldn't have let me get off the phone without fighting to take me from, like, hire me out from under you or something. It was strange. It was really weird.
Yeah. And so that's, and so what they do is, so now he's just become a Christian rather than Jewish. So now he just subtly goes ahead and puts a good dude, nice move, like, yep, she didn't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. Like you, but then at the end, it's like at the end, he goes ahead and says, I mean, I'll meet with Mark, but only if you're there. So yeah, Lisa goes ahead and says she doesn't want me to do the review. And then she flips it around and says, okay, I want you to do the review. And we have that one recorded, actually, Lisa's. So the amount of stuff that's going on here, is just, it's crazy. Yeah, what's going through my head now, I definitely should not be saying. So, Nora, what you got?
I was at 57% for yesterday.
Girl. See, I can't wait till Shuaib gets that, PP, pressure point analysis, PPA done, because I can pull up little, like on our friendship, like a heartbeat, Nora, like it goes up and down, it goes races, it goes really fast, and then it goes down, and then it goes up and down and starts dancing. And so it's like that's how the sales are. So I don't talk a lot about my college education and the 3 degrees for multiple reasons. But there is something in the stock market that I learned in one of my college degrees. I think it was a finance degree. And it's a ceiling and a floor. And it's fascinating where you see the stock market and it goes, and there's a ceiling. That's how high the stock market goes. And then it goes down and goes up and goes down and it goes up. And then all of a sudden it breaks through the ceiling. And now all of a sudden it goes to a new floor. So in sales, it's, let's say it's 50,000. That's first dimension, let's say. Then it's 100,000. Then it's 250,000. Then it's a half a million. Then it's a million, 2.5 million, 5 million. That's what it is. And so Nora, first year in sales, she wants to do $250,000. That's unheard of. That is absolutely unheard of. But what she's doing is she's smart. She's leveraging like my 30 plus years of business and sales and everything. She's leveraging and she's building that. But she opens up doors for me and I open up doors for her. So it's like we're two airplanes and we're flying together in this thing called life. And so, women do that better than men. A lot better than men. Men, they suck at it. They want to fly their own planes. They want to be their own success. They don't know how to build on previous generations. Fascinating. Anything else, Nora, you have?
Not right now, no.
Becky, anything you got?
Yesterday was at 15%.
Okay. Which I think is 50% better than the day before. So good work on that.
Thank you.
What are you thinking, Mark? I'm trying to figure out how to. So Becky's is running at 15%, 10, 15%. So her next dimension is 25%. Nora's broken through the 50%. And so if she can stop it from dropping down, that'll be her new floor. That was something amazing. But in, another week or two, that's going to be normal, hopefully. So as Nora is studying the system and learning, how do I do this? Like, how do I go ahead? I don't like to use game the system because that has negative connotation, in my opinion. She knows how to work the system. She knows how to leverage. It's not gaming it. It's not, she's making sure that everybody benefits. She benefits and everybody else benefits around her. We're gamers, typically, you win, other people lose. You take advantage of other people and you give them the illusion you're helping them, but you're really not. Interesting. Luke, what you got?
So yesterday I did 30%. How do you, or I haven't figured out how to, I'm pursuing someone that they're kind of cold and their sense of urgency is not in a short period of time. Like, how do I move them along? What do I do with them? Or
The 3 elements of sales is what?
the decision maker and then sense of urgency and financial, or can they afford it?
Yeah, so number 2 is financial. So
Gotcha. Okay.
that would be a great quiz question, right? To put the order, because the order is important. And so, you can you can train somebody much easier to go ahead and find the decision maker. You can go ahead and find somebody, you can get somebody to go ahead, and this is pre-sales. You can get somebody. The thing that Tom thought was the most genius about the 530 grid. So the thing he just loved about the 530 grid is that it pre-sales. And he loved area 2 and area 5. He's like, Mark, that's just genius. He says, nobody does that. Like Century 21, 140,000 agents, in 70 different countries. And he said, we have 1, 3, and 4, but we don't have 2 and 5. He said, that's just absolutely genius to break them apart. but it's hard to break them apart, but you can train somebody. So who's the decision maker? The third thing is sense of urgency. That's magical. It's mystical. Because in the sense of urgency, that's how you increase it. So you do it through questions, Luke. And then you combine the marketing model to it too. You do it to the marketing model too. And so that's Tom's. So that's Tom's here. So wouldn't it be nice, because first time conscious contact with the industry, what you want to do is help people most people are procrastinating, they're waiting. And it's why in the 30-minute strategy session, we go over that. Because that's where you're asking questions. It's where you're planting seeds. You're helping people to realize, like Nora originally, she didn't even know 250,000 the first year was even possible. It wasn't even a thought. You can't do something like that. But as soon as she had the thought, so whatever the mind can believe and whatever the mind can conceive and then believe, the mind can achieve. But she's got to do the work, make the sacrifice, and take the risk. She's got to do that. And she's got to learn how to leverage. I think you guys are going through leverage. How do you know? Like I have 3 degrees in business, and I talk about my 3 degrees far more than the average person does. It's not to go ahead and get accolades. It's not to think I'm smart. It's really not. You know, it's to go ahead and recover my investment of time and money. I spent 5 years getting 3 degrees. And so you guys going through the course, if you guys don't ever reference the course, did the course really make a difference? Like when Kenny and I, did the, 1 week work vacation to San Antonio, I talk about it a lot more than Kenny does. So did I get more out of it? It would seem like I probably did. And so if Kenny talks about it more, like I remember this and I remember this and I remember this and I remember this and I remember this, that'll also help him to prevent probably from getting Alzheimer's. It's one of the natural cures, but he's got to do it when he's starting at his age. Like here's memories of things that were life-changing. Like this was a life-changing moment. This was a life-changing memory. This was something of significance. So what you're doing is it's finesse, Luke. And you're on the hunt, and so if you're listening to this and you're a young lady, I mean, I don't know when you're listening to it. So when you're listening to it, Luke might already be married. He may already be taken. He might already have 3, 5, 7, little Luke Millers running around the house. I don't know. But based on what he's done, so I've known Luke for 2 months or 2 years. For the last couple months, like that guy's kicking into gear. Now, is he going to stay in gear or is he going to put it into neutral? I don't know. But anyways, connect with, I don't know. Well, yeah, here's my number. Call or text me. So my number is 630. I'm going to give it because there's going to be millions of people going through this. 630-393-9909. So text me if you're a young lady or a young lady that's interested in, she's interested in an amazing husband. She's interested in being an amazing wife. She wants an amazing family. Text me and say, is Luke Miller still available? And I'll let you know if he is. And so it's Luke in sales. It's a lot like it's a lot. There were a lot of guys that were pursuing Rosanna when she was 18, 19 years old. A lot of guys were very interested in her.
Okay.
And so, but they didn't have a chance against me. Like, not a chance. Like, I captivated that girl's heart. People were stunned by it. Like, I absolutely captured her heart. So this is where counterintuitive, like Lisa, I don't know if we go ahead and post that here and you guys go through that and go, dang, that was amazing. And if Becky or Nora wanted that sale, all they'd have had to do is text me and say, Mark, you can't get the sale. Like, if you get this sale, Mark, like, we're both going to take you out for a steak dinner. If they would have said that, done. She'd have been, shoot, they could have said that and said, Mark, if you get this sale, you take us out for a steak dinner. I'd have done that too. It'd have been fine. Like, so we had her if we wanted her. Do we want her? I don't know.
Remember that.
Like, right? I mean, it's not that hard. Like, when you listen to that and you just see how I move, I just absolutely move Lisa. And she tells me something. She says, well, if somebody told me I was a 3 on, 1, 2, 3 on coachability, I wouldn't want him coach. Okay. I'm telling you a 1, 2, or 3. And it absolutely wins her heart because somebody's actually honest with her. Like, women crave honesty, but boy, if you're honest, you better be good. A lot better than I am. Jeepers. Kenny, what you got?
So one thing I've noticed especially in the construction area, is everything with the weather and everything that's going on. Everything's just kind of slowed down. Nobody's really doing anything, and then it's hard to get even people to schedule things for when it picks up or when it increases. So how do you not let that, how to have an effect on you?
Well, what you do is, so Paul, I forget his last name, he was a client in the mortgage industry. And in June, he told me, he said, Mark, he says, November, December, and January October, November, December are our slowest months of the year in the mortgage industry. Nobody's doing business. And I'm like our it drops like 50%. He says, can you change that? I said, oh, absolutely. So we started, though, you can't start in October, November, December. You got to start in June. I mean, it helps to start. You might be able to still do it, but so we put systems in place in June, July, August. We started building systems, and that last quarter, not only were they equal, not only were they equal to the previous 9 months, they surpassed the 9 months. As a matter of fact, those 3 months had the highest sales that they'd ever had in company history. So what's important to understand is that there's always business going on. Like, the marketplace can drop 50%. But the advantage is all your competition is thinking what you're thinking, and that is there's no business or there's a lot less business. So what you have to do is you have to be a lot smarter. Like, you have to be a lot smarter. So one thing that just comes to mind, and I can think about it more, but one thing that comes to mind is, most people aren't going to go ahead and tell you this, what I'm going to tell you. But, we believe in transparency. And, other companies won't tell you this, but we're going to, because we're transparent. And that is, if you go ahead and engage in a job right now, it's going to be 20% less than if you go ahead and engage later, because there's availability now that there's not later. So if you go ahead and move now, it'll actually cost you less. So you work harder, you work smarter, you increase your expectations, you get better at what you're doing. And that's really what the industry is. When you're looking at construction, they're looking at availability of resources. I mean, we learned that it was reinforced on the gutters for the deck.
Right.
So you just tell people honestly, hey, so you go ahead and build it up to keep the inventory where you've got the flow going.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
but they have to move. Why? It's not dishonesty. It's just labor supply. It's economics, supply and demand. When demand goes up, prices go up. They just do. That's how it works. It's not some evil business person making more money. This is just how it works, because you got to pay. You got to pay your laborers more. You got to pay everything's more. Everything's more expensive. So we don't make any more money, honestly, because we got to pay everything more. It's just how it works. So you educate your customer, that increases sense of urgency. Dang, that was good. I have to remember that. There's a lot more where that came from. Anything else, Kenny, you got?
No.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else?
No.
All right. Where are you guys going to make your money?
Developing people.
So, Nora's got, Becky. She brought Becky on. And so Becky tried to bring Becca in, which was awesome. Becca, can't wait for you to join us. Cheyenne, she's out there. There's a whole bunch of people out there. There's a whole bunch of people out there. And most people, they're not like me. What do you mean by that, Mark? They're chasing the money, which I'm not. Like, you got to do that if you're young, and you got to, pay wife and children. I'm in a season of life where I don't have to chase the money. And man, is that a cool season in life. And I'd like to help you all get there sooner rather than later. So if you have a person that's a 2, you need a system that's an 8. If you have a person that's an 8, you need a system that is 2. And so you don't really know. You'll think people, like when I built the sales force from 4 people to 28 people. The guy was a monster. So I built it from 4 salespeople to 28 people, and I did that in 3.5 years. So I was 27 years old and on track to make over $460,000 a year as a 27-year-old. And I got a lot better systems now than I had then. Holy cow. And I know a lot more than I did back then. So don't be afraid to bring on the people, because I think, what were you, Mark, when you joined? 1 or 2. I was a 1 or 2 salesperson. Well, how'd you survive? I worked hard. And I just knew I'd rather die in the jungle than live in the zoo. I'm not going to work a real job. I get promoted into management, and I get promoted into management. I'm like, I'm taking a 2-week vacation. People come up to me. So I'm vice president of sales. They're like, Mark, nobody in leadership. Maybe you don't know this about this company. Little whispers. Mark, nobody in leadership takes vacations. I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm 25 years old, probably at the time. 25, Kenny's age. I'm like, I don't want to reinforce cockiness, but you got to have the work and everything else that backs it up. Okay, so you got to have the work, and so I'm like, so they're like, yeah, nobody takes vacation. I'm like, well, do you know why that is? And they're like, well, yeah, because we're a young, growing company, and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, no, it's because they don't know how to manage. They don't know how to lead. They're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, my theory is that my systems don't work. If I can't leave for 2 weeks. Now, we went to Marco Island in Florida So I felt Rosanna and the kids needed, the three kids needed a break. And so we went to Marco Island, and I'm on the beach and I'm using a computer. I'm making phone calls. But, Rosanna didn't mind. And so I still had responsibility to my customers. I still had responsibility, to my other customers. So I had two customers. One is mortgage, but I was kind of phasing out of that. So I didn't have a lot of mortgage clients, but so I was what they call a producing sales manager. So I did sales and managed and developed and recruited people. And so I go ahead and, so I still had responsibilities, I still had responsibilities to the salespeople. Like I bring somebody on, in sales management, you guys, I can't wait till we get to that. And Nora's there. She's starting to go ahead and be there. And so if you guys are if I'm leading you in sales management, you're working, I'm working. And you get 10, 20 people doing that. Like if you're working, I'm working. It's how it is. It's how leadership is. And I'm going to make sacrifice. I'm going to do things. It's going to be absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's going to be, I can't wait before we get into that phase. And so Nora, in the future, you go ahead and you can start saying, how do I develop Becky and how do I help Becky get to her WOW income goal? And how can I help her get from 15%? And how do you do that? And women tend to do a lot better at this than men. It's going to be men. Watch the ladies. They know how to fly together a lot better than men do. They just do. So hopefully this has been helpful, motivating, inspiring. Always remember we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. And again, if you're a young lady, you're interested in a really cool guy, or a young lady, maybe you're maybe like me. I have 4 daughters. Okay. So maybe you have daughters or you have sisters or something. You say, I really want this young lady to go ahead and have an amazing husband like Luke, I'm telling you. And I'll make sure he sticks, like it's going to be ratchet. He's not going to slip back. Like I remember what he was before he met the woman that young woman you're going to, he won't. I'll kick his ass. I'm just saying. Anyways, always remember we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. I'm not going to control his marriage. I'm not going to do that. All right. We'll see you guys. Bye.